Welcome to Saturday Morning Success, the show that shares with you the secrets of success in life, relationships, and business. And now, our hosts, Dennis Nurmela and Jennifer Sinclair.
Hey, welcome this Saturday morning. We love being here in your living room or on your iPad or wherever it is that you're watching us. I'm here with the great Miss Jennifer Sinclair. How are you today?
I'm good. You want to know why I'm good?
Yes.
Because I have coffee instead of water, so you're in big trouble today.
Oh my goodness, wow.
Yeah.
Well, so you're
Good luck
not going
with
to fall
that.
asleep during the show is what you're saying.
Complete opposite, actually. I may have to get up and walk around and do some jumping jacks, but
That's okay.
It's going to be all good
The
fun.
cameras will need to follow you, so we're
I
all
hope
set
so.
with
Okay,
that.
good. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, we're here with Tom L'Italian. I love that last name. I'm going to guess you're Italian.
Correct.
That was a
Wow.
good guess. I'm like psychic.
You are so smart.
I know. I'm so smart.
Why we have you on this show.
I know. Totally. Well, Tom likes to cycle across the United States.
What?
Yeah,
Get out of here.
across the United States. Not like across the street or
No.
across town,
Wow.
but from like California to New York across.
I cycle into class and I never go anywhere. Go
Yeah.
across the country. Man, well, we're going to learn some interesting stuff about this guy.
I'm excited to hear about this because there's got to be some serious challenges riding your bike across the country.
Yeah. Now, and I got to say, and I don't mean this in any bad way, or maybe I do. No, it's good. But you don't look like a guy that rides a bicycle all the time.
You know, that that comment is made to me quite frequently, actually.
Is
Really?
it? What's your response?
Well, I just say that I'm a short guy with powerful legs.
Powerful.
Because most
good.
of them, they think I should be 6'3". When they see me, they're expecting somebody taller and thinner.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And I'm just
Like
a
Lance
big
Armstrong?
bald guy.
Yeah.
You know,
Gotcha.
so,
Now,
Yeah.
I understand you used to be a little bigger.
yeah, I was when I was got out of high school in 68 and 69. I was obese. And,
Okay. What did you mind if me asking you what you weighed?
I weighed probably about 420 pounds when I was out of high school. And
Wow.
Wow.
tried to join the military, tried to join the Air Force.
Wow.
And they rejected me, obviously.
Yeah.
Because I think when
Gosh.
you're that big, you really don't see that you're that big.
Right.
I always thought that I was in shape
Huh.
until I started getting in shape. So it was,
Right.
Right.
So
So this show is all about success, and we wanted to talk about your bike ride and all that stuff, but there's more to you than just the guy who's on the bike.
Well, there's a story that gets to the bike, right?
There is,
Yeah.
yeah. So we want to find out about this. You're not 420 pounds anymore.
No, you're not.
no,
Something must have happened.
I'm glad I'm not.
So
Actually,
tell us about that journey.
When my first child was announced that at the time my wife was pregnant, I thought a little bit about it and said that I really couldn't be a good dad if I was not. There are a lot of people that are overweight and they're good dads. Me, I
Right.
wanted to be physical with my children, take them out hiking, down to the swing set down the park and walk down there and walk back. So I realized that I had to do something about it if I was going to participate with my children
Right.
in that way.
You had a vision in your mind of what it was to be a dad.
Well, yeah, I was convinced I was going to have a son. Not that the first child was a son, but I was really blessed when my daughter was born because being raised with 7 brothers, it's rough and tumble, and you're rolling
Right.
in the dirt. And
Totally.
it was really funny for me to sit down with my daughter and have a
Like a tea
little
party?
Tea party.
Yeah. You're like, okay.
Dress in costume.
Right.
It was really. She was cooking on her play set and stuff. But anyway, so I thinking that it was a boy that I wanted to throw the ball with him and
Right.
Right.
play out in the yard with his kids because it was important that all the kids settle at our home so that we could take a view of them, see what they're doing,
That's important.
that sort of thing. And we did just that. Our backyard was the football field, baseball field, basketball, hockey.
Wow.
And all the kids in the neighborhood ended up congregating there. And it was all because I was in shape. And it was, at the time, it was a pleasure for me to run alongside my son's bicycle as he was
Right.
pedaling
Yeah.
without his 2 wheels, when you
Yeah.
take the trainers off. So I could actually run up and down the street with him, and in the snow in the winter in New England, I could run up and down street with him when he was on his
Right.
coaster and kind of that kind of stuff, you know.
So that was your defining moment.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was it. And
That's a good one. That's a good defining moment.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Now, how did you do that? How did you lose the weight?
A lot of going to the gym. I worked. My place of employment was close to a gym, so I'd go in there in the morning before work. I'd go there at lunchtime, and then I'd go there after employment.
Oh my gosh, you were seriously motivated.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
I was.
Yeah.
I was.
Gosh, that's
I wanted to
Right?
make sure that I was healthy.
You're falling down on the job, Dennis. 3 times a day.
I know.
You need to step your game
I
up.
do. I really do.
I need to step my game
I
up.
was doing good. I lost
Right.
80 pounds and going not every day, but and now I don't even want to talk about it.
Right, 'cause you
Three
just-
times a day, so
Yeah,
that's pretty
Oh,
good.
it's a great feeling,
Yeah.
being confident and losing weight and
Yeah, totally.
you
I
know,
can
kind
see
of,
that.
So how did you know you're doing the right stuff, though? I mean, a lot of people go to the gym and they're like, well, let's see, what's the instructions in this machine? What do
Yeah,
I do?
they
And
just
it's-
wander.
trial and error, but after a while, I was a jock, and you just kind of,
Do it.
before I gained weight, I was always with the kids in the neighborhood. We'd shovel off the basketball court to play basketball in the wintertime.
Oh,
That
wow.
sounds like a lot of work.
No, it was fun. It was,
When you were young.
we were just
Yeah.
goofy we were so competitive with sports and playing basketball and football, and shoveling was the easy part. Playing a basketball afterwards was.
So you just reverted back to who you used to be
Yeah,
in
exactly.
order
Nice.
to get
Yeah.
through it. Yeah.
Yeah, so we, so I loved the equipment, and then I got into powerlifting with a group of guys in the gym. I belonged to the YMCA. And
Cool.
so we did some powerlifting and some. We'd go out and go compete and do some bench pressing and some deadlifts and some squats and all that stuff.
Wow.
So we got
That's
really
great.
kind of serious about it, and all the while just losing the weight and getting in great shape, and then get into running, and really, the way I look at it is that when I was young, I was played with the kids and in the neighborhood in basketball and football, and then I think. For a few years, I didn't do anything, and I think that saved my body so that I could run.
Ah,
Because I wasn't doing the exercise and pulling the muscles, and
Right.
so it preserved so that I could run. And then when I started running, I just
Kept running.
exactly. I kept running. I'd run 10 miles to a colleague that I worked with who was home, and he would drive me into work, and then he would drop me off at night, and I'd run 10 miles home.
That's
Wow.
pretty
On the
intense.
weekends, I'd run 19 miles.
That's like like you would run a marathon almost
Exactly.
for work.
wow.
It was getting so that I was running 19 miles every other weekend
Oh my
before I
gosh.
even entered into a marathon.
Was that like a therapeutic thing for you to like run and just be
I
out?
think so. I
Yeah.
think that it was. There's just a lot of things that cues in life that I missed growing up,
Mhm.
and I think that the running gave me the solitude. It gave me the ability to think about some things that
Right.
were going on in my life.
Reflect
and,
a little bit.
Yeah, think about relationships with family and that kind of stuff. So I think that it gave me the ability to have some quiet time.
Yeah.
And my wife was really great. I mean, she never complained about any of the time that I was
Running for 18
spending.
hours. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, he's out running.
Well, it was
it's
like
okay.
3 hours or something like that. I mean, I ran the Boston
Okay,
Marathon
18's
in
exaggerating,
3
however.
hours and like 15.
Oh, wow. Wow. When did you run the Boston Marathon?
Oh, probably about 40 years ago.
Nice.
Oh, gotcha.
About
Wow. So when you were
35
7.
years
Yeah.
ago. Well, I'm 65, so it was about when I was about 25, 27. 28
Great.
years.
That only works with the women, Dennis.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I tried. So where did you grow up? You mentioned shoveling snow off of the basketball court. So where did you grow up?
I grew up in a great family melting pot neighborhood in a place called Chelsea, Massachusetts.
Oh, right.
I feel like you have a Boston accent a little bit.
Yes.
Mhm.
Well, Chelsea is
Very
a
close.
little bit north of Boston.
Can you hear it? Do you hear it?
I do hear it, yeah.
I don't pronounce ours well.
No.
But anyway, so that's where I grew up, in the the Boston area.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. I love Boston, by the way. It's my favorite city to visit.
I've never
It's
been.
exciting.
I want to
Oh,
go.
you gotta go.
I
Yeah,
gotta
you
go.
gotta go. It's exciting. It really is.
Yeah, my wife and I should take you. I took my wife on a
Boston.
conference once, so yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
I love it. There's so much history there, and
Oh.
just incredible.
It is. It really is, and it's just a neat place to be.
Yeah, that is cool.
Now I'm living out in Sun City, Arizona, and enjoying the
Hotness.
beautiful weather. Well, it's not. I'll tell you, as long as you're hydrated, as long as you're drinking fluid.
Yeah.
Because
You won't die of heat
training
stroke. It'll
for
be
my
fine.
cross-country
Right.
ride in 120, 170
Oh.
degree temperature.
Wow.
No, thank you.
Wow.
As long as you're drinking fluid, you're okay. It's a dry heat, so it's probably like tantamount to about 90 degrees.
Wow.
No,
But
thanks.
it's
Yeah. Dry heat. Heat's still heat. When
Yeah.
it's that hot.
Agreed.
So that's
but
something.
if you're in shape, it's okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
No.
that's good.
Well, no.
That's a key thing I think about. Excuse me, being in shape and how you feel about yourself
Exactly.
when you're in shape. So you had to, in that process of losing weight, I'm sure that you had, so were there some days that you're like, gosh, I'm just not making progress? How did you get beyond those stumbling blocks?
Well, it's interesting. At the time, I met a fella this last year's bike ride who was a Tuskegee Airman,
Okay.
and he was 90 years old, most amazing guy.
Wow.
And his philosophy, because I said to him, give me a defining moment when everything was happening, and because these guys were under the microscope and they had to perform. They were drafted out of high school to be pilots, so they had to fly a plane before they could drive a car.
Right.
So I asked him, I said, give me a time when, you doubted yourself and you made that breakthrough. And he said,
What a great question to ask, though.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was. And we have the interview, we're going to show it. But he granted us the permission to do that. But he said I was a cocky black kid and I never doubted myself. And that was my point. I never hit those walls or those struggles. It was something that I wanted to do, and if you want to do something, you'll find a way to do it.
I like that.
And it's
Right.
a positive thing. So I never really kind of got into that. This is difficult, and
Unwavering confidence.
That's great. I love that.
it might have been that I wasn't intelligent enough to understand it.
Well, that works too. That could totally.
So it was
Yeah.
not being aware of your full environment. So
Right.
you just kind of
Just go for it. Ignorance
Yeah.
is bliss sometimes,
That's true. That is
Yeah.
true.
but in very
So-
small amounts of times.
but it was I never had any question of that.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That is great. Were there some people that you looked up to that you're like, oh, so-and-so lost a lot of weight, or maybe somebody you're working out with, or somebody that kind of helped inspire you a little bit, or?
No, not really. It was the motivation of being able to throw that ball with my son.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And
Or,
do you keep that picture in your mind kind of the whole time?
Oh, absolutely, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And then when it started to unroll, where he, thankfully liked sports and going out in the yard, and it was actually I was living my life vicariously through my son,
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
because I was enjoying him with what he was doing, and I was actually enjoying it myself.
Right.
Because when you're raised with 8 brothers,
Yeah.
7 brothers, you don't have that. Your parents aren't spending that one-on-one time.
Right, because there's so many of you. Yeah.
Right,
So,
right. Where were you, in the middle or top, bottom?
the third oldest.
Okay, gotcha.
So,
All right.
5 below me.
So as we're going to go to break here, and when we come back, I want to find out a little bit more about your wife and the fact that she was supporting you in this cause of your running, not the cause, but your desire to run. And she's also, I'm sure, been supportive when you ride your bike all the way across the country and all that. So when we come back from break, let's talk about that relationship and how important that is for you. So we'll be back right after these short messages from our sponsors, whom we dearly love.
Love them.
Saturday Morning Success will be right back after this.
Okay, people, listen up. Our fugitive has been on the run for 90 minutes. Average foot speed over uneven terrain, barring any injuries, is 4 miles per hour. That's a 6-mile radius. I want checkpoints established at I-95, 495, and over at Route 66. What I need from each and every one of you is a full target search of every gas station, residence, warehouse, farmhouse, hen house, outhouse, and doghouse in that area. Your fugitive has just cashed in his 401k plan, and all he had to do was roll it over. Go get him!
Learn about rollovers and protecting your financial future, and choose to save.
You can't mess with the big dog.
A full life, measured in seats, starts with the right ones early on. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Learn how to prevent deaths and injuries by using the right car seat for your child's age and size.
You sure you don't want some? It's chamomile. Listen, you are extremely terrifying. Just the scariest undead subhuman thing on TV, and I really mean that. But I am worried that you could give my kids nightmares if they see you, so I'm gonna have to block you. So that's it. Oh, and tell the zombies they're blocked too.
We're back with Saturday Morning Success.
Hey, welcome back. We missed you. We hope that you missed us because we're having a great time here with Tom L'Italien. And we're, what are we going to do now?
One day I'm going to have them film you while you're dancing before they go to air.
They probably have the cameras running.
We're going to definitely do that.
Okay.
We want to talk to Tom about the support from your family, because I think that's a huge, contribution to you being successful in your running, and having your wife say, "Okay, you can run for 20 hours, and I'll just wait for you at home."
Well, the interesting thing was, I was blessed.
So you weren't running because she was chasing you, right? I mean, it was
no. There were times that she couldn't chase me for 20 miles. So
No.
I was able to get away from a lot.
So you'll win. That's good.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
That's where the 20 miles came
They
from.
didn't have distance in them. I did.
Yeah.
So it was fun, but no, I really was blessed. I mean, to have people that understood that I had to do what I had to do.
Right.
Allowed me to do it. So that support is absolutely incredible. And when we talk about the first ride going across the country, I'll tell you a little story about that and my wife and what her response was.
Yeah.
When I told her I was going across country. But family support.
Yeah. I bet it was a great response.
No, it was. It was really.
Can you say it on the air?
It was. No, I can't. It was really interesting.
Well, let's
Her
talk
belief.
about what motivated you to get involved in doing this bike ride across the country.
Yeah.
So, we talked about family support and how it helps you when you want to accomplish things, but there's a lot of people that don't
Have that support.
have that support or don't feel they have that support,
Feel. Yeah, that's a good word.
right?
Yeah,
And
they
so
do, but they don't.
Feel
who
like
is
they
that group
do.
of people, and why did you get involved with those folks?
Well, it probably all started, and I didn't realize it, was when my brother Albert went off to war, Vietnam. And before he left, him and I were about a year apart, and we always chummed around together. So we laughed and we joked and we, raced and punched and basketball, and but when he came back from the war, it was all different.
Yeah.
It was. I didn't realize it, until I got involved in the program that I'm involved in now, and he came back a shadow of who he really was before he left. Fast forward, I get involved in 2012 with wanting to help veterans, and my wife and I always have contributed to like VFW funds and that kind of stuff, But this was different. When I got involved with the organization that I belong to, a 501 certified 501c3 called the Teen Veteran Foundation, and that word "the" is important. So it's TTVF. We were just trying to raise money to help veterans. And one thing led to another, and we just started looking at the suicide rate among veterans. And it was continuous. It was year after year that, 22 veterans a day, and it's even really more than that because they're not recording it properly. Sometimes a veteran gets killed by a cop and it's not considered suicide, but the vet put himself in that position
Right.
so that the cop would shoot him. So I just kept looking at it, and I could no longer sit on my couch at night and not do anything, even though we were already trying to help.
Right.
So we then kind of narrowed our focus down to how can we help reduce the veteran suicide rate? What could we do? And this is the part about my wife. And so we were kind of going back and forth, and I'm a bus driver, so I have the summer off.
Right.
And my wife and I were kind of thinking about, well, what was it that I was going to do, get another job in the summertime to make up the income? And on June 10th at 2 o'clock in the morning, the Holy Spirit came to me and said, you're going to take a bike ride across the country to raise awareness to veteran suicide.
Wow.
And I woke my wife up and I said, you wouldn't believe what just happened to me. And I explained it to her, and she said, looks like you're going for a bike ride.
Oh my gosh, what a great response.
Yeah. 'Cause she believes in that things are done, nothing happens randomly, that things,
Right.
there's a plan. So 11 days later, I left. 11 days later.
11 days?
Yeah, 11 days later.
Whoa.
That's no joke.
That's
11
true. On June
Wow.
21st, I left Flagstaff, Arizona on a mountain bike, pulling a 100-pound trailer.
Oh my gosh.
And I headed to Boston, Massachusetts.
Wow.
And my wife was incredible.
Now, you talked about running, but did you ride a bike?
Yeah, I
Right.
always. I had always.
He's like, nope, first time on a bike.
I know. Took the training wheels off
Yeah.
after the first couple miles.
Well, a couple of years before that, maybe 10 years or so, I had done a triathlon. I had run a couple of triathlons, not the mountain.
No Ironmans, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but it was a lot of fun, and
Yeah.
it was the best shape that I've ever been in my life. And so, even today, I incorporate some of those training things, like my routine now in preparation for my 2015 ride is, pedaling 30 to 50 miles a day, going for a 1 mile swim, and then running 5 miles.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Did you ride your bike here from Arizona?
Did you?
no, I wish I could have, and had the time, because I definitely. I'll tell you what I did do was I did last year. I left San Diego and pedaled to Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So I went through some of the
Oh my gosh.
like Route 8 and that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, we did that.
Yeah, I did that yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got back this morning.
So I started in San Diego, ended up in El Centro, California the first night, and then Yuma the second night. And I met a fellow who pedaled with me who was a Vietnam veteran who was having real problems with cancer, but he got on the bike and pedaled through Arizona with me. And we're talking July, so it's pretty hot.
Yeah.
But so I had pedaled bike previously, so
Okay.
So you had 11 days. You went from, this is what I'm going to do, to 11 days later, you doing it. What was the planning involved? Like, that has
there wasn't any.
none? Like, you have to have food ready, like,
Well,
money, like, what did you do?
Because I went by myself, we didn't need money.
Right?
And then we had a group of people coordinating. What we did in 11 days was we laid out the route.
Okay.
So we left Flagstaff and headed to Boston, and we hit 17 states
Right.
going across the country. And
Where'd you sleep?
sometimes in churches, sometimes in hotels where people along the route knew we were coming, would pay for the hotel.
Oh, wow.
That kind of stuff.
Very
or
cool.
slept at, many times I slept at some veterans' homes. A guy named Mike Cross in Lancaster, I remember him like yesterday. He's an incredible man. And he allowed me to stay with his family, and he didn't know what I was there for
Right.
until I got there. And then we took the statue of responsibility and went to a VFW meeting because I carried the statue with me
Yeah.
the whole time, the first time and the second, because I'm a huge supporter of the Responsibility Foundation, and it's like gravity. Responsibility is like gravity; it's always there. So,
And we'll talk some more
so there
about that
wasn't-
later too. I think.
Yeah.
So there wasn't that much planning. It was just a lot of faith. And
Right.
if I believed that God had me on this path, then
He would
why
provide
should
for
I question
you,
it?
right?
It was okay. This is it, and now go. So that's how it happened.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Oh, I thought it was so exciting.
I bet.
And the things that people I met and the things along the way were just absolutely phenomenal. So,
What are some of the things that, can you tell us one of the stories maybe that was inspiring I'm sure you got a bunch of them, and we'll probably get to more of them too.
Yeah.
On that first, especially that first, let's talk about just that first bike ride, 'cause I'm
Yeah.
sure you've done it. How many times have
Twice.
you done it now?
I last year twice, 2013, 2014, and I have scheduled up on our webpage is the route for 2015.
Okay, so tell us about that first one, because it's
Yeah.
probably monumental.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's a
Just-
story that stands out for you?
There were so many. It's tough to just pick one.
Well, we'll let you pick some more after the break
Yeah.
too.
Okay.
but-
The meeting a fellow by the name of Leon Padilla, and it ties directly to the statute of responsibility. In Bernalillo, New Mexico. I had been pedaling for a few days at the time, and I was on my way to Santa Fe. And in 2013, there was a huge forest fire, so they wouldn't let me pedal up the route that I was going because of the smoke.
Oh.
And so I stopped in Bernalillo at a little tavern called Silva's, and the waitress was a woman that when I explained to her what I was doing, and I brought the statue in with me and showed her, she said, "There's a guy that you got to talk to," and his name was Leon Padilla. So he and I sat in the restaurant for hours, and when I explained to him what I was doing, he started crying.
No.
Oh yeah, he did. He just said to me, "Do you realize how important this is?" And he said, "There's nobody 63 years old going across the country on a bike." And I said,
Right.
"Yes, sir, I understand." And he said, "Well, do you know you can't fail?" And I said, "Yes, sir, I do." And he said, you have no understanding how important it was." And he was referring to the statute of responsibility as well as the veteran suicide rate.
Right.
And he started crying. I started crying. Gave me a hug. He said, "I'm going to give you a call every day." And he did. He called me every day. And when I got into Boston, I called him and said, "I'm here." And he said, "You did it."
Oh my
And
gosh.
every day he talked to me, he'd say, "You know, you can't fail." And I said, "Yeah, I know."
what a
I'm
message.
halfway across the country, so I'm doing really well.
Right.
Well, what he did, and this was the thing that was most moving to me, was his father was the soldiers left behind in the Philippines, called the March of the Baton, the Death March.
Okay.
He gave me his father's flag.
Oh my gosh.
And that flag is flying at the top of the statute of responsibility when it's built.
Wow.
Because I had a meeting with the executive board and the board of directors, and Tony Allen was there, and he said, I told him the story, and he said, "That flag is flying there."
Aw.
And I said, "That's a blessing." So I called Leon and said, "Your father's flag, it's going to fly at the top of the statue."
Oh, wow.
And he was just taken back by that. So that was something that I'll never forget. So
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
moving, really moving. And was it not for the smoke, I would have, and not being able to pedal, I would have never bumped into him.
See, everything
Wow.
happens for a reason.
Absolutely.
That's
it
right.
does.
Yeah, that's very true.
Very cool.
Very true.
Yeah.
So
So that
well,
was incredible.
That's incredible, and I think that, and we want to hear some more stories too. We're going to take a break here in a little bit, but we've mentioned a lot the statute of responsibility. We've had Gary Price, a sculptor here, and his wife, and we've had some other folks that have been involved in that. I'm actually a consultant with them too.
This is like the headquarters for the Statute of
I think
Responsibility.
so. Yeah.
We're
yeah.
going to take
So,
that.
Yeah.
When we come back from break, why don't you explain to our audience from your vantage point what the statute of responsibility is? We've actually got one here on the up on the rack behind us. We'll have somebody pull it down and put it here on the table, and since we're all wired in and connected, we
Yeah.
can do
I forgot to bring mine.
stuff like that. That's okay. But it's been across the country with you. That's
Oh,
pretty
it's
cool.
all
Yeah.
what I like.
We're going to be right back after these messages.
Saturday Morning Success will be right back after this.
The next 30 seconds can save you a lot of money. Just do your laundry in cold and stick to full loads. Auto-sleep your computers. Plug your gadgets in a power strip and switch it off when you're done. Headed out? Turn back your thermostat by 10 degrees. and drive sensibly. The more energy you save, the more money you save. Find other great tips at energysaver.gov.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him opening his own clothing store at the age of 18? 1 in 138,000. Excited to be a part of pop culture, he packed for the big city. The odds of finding someone to invest in his vision? 1 in 4.5 million. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Early diagnosis can make a lifetime of difference.
Hey, Hard, what's this?
That's my resignation letter.
You're resigning.
Why? Because you're constantly ignoring me. You're half as active as you used to be, and you get stuff like this. You've been putting me under a lot of pressure lately. That's why I'm ready to quit.
I forgot. I'll do better. Please, don't quit on me.
Okay, but remember, it's not what you say, it's what you do.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you.
Let's go for a walk.
Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
We're back with Saturday Morning Success.
Hey, welcome back. We are glad to have you here this Saturday morning, or whenever it is that you're watching this show. And I'm back here with our host, because I'm just the co-host, Miss Jennifer Sinclair. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm really glad this is sinking in.
It is. I'm okay with being the
I
co-host.
don't even have to mention it anymore. You just go with it.
I know, yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, well, you poke me all day long on this table here, so remind me. Hey, you got something new sitting next to you. What's up with this?
It's this super awesome statue of responsibility.
Wow.
I mean,
where'd it come from? It's incredible.
It came from the skies. It just
Okay.
came down. It just floated down from the skies. Well, we want to hear your interpretation of what the statue of responsibility is, because we've had the sculptor, Gary Price, on our show.
Yep, definitely. And we've had Mary Simaluka, who is the movie producer.
Okay.
Yeah.
For Victor Frankl.
And Gary's super
I
awesome
met,
wife.
Mary.
She's so much fun.
Lisa?
Yeah.
And Lisa,
So tell us the story. Pretend like
Yeah.
we don't know anything about
Okay.
it. We just happen to have one here.
Yeah, it just happens to be
Tell
here.
our audience about the statue
Well,
of
I
responsibility.
can tell you how I met up with Gary and Lisa and the statue and actually believe in it enough to carry it across the country. Actually, the founder of our organization, who's now moved on, knew about the statue of responsibility, and when he told me about it and I saw it, I was just absolutely amazed. And what more importantly, though, was we have the 4-foot version. That's a stainless steel version that's very heavy. I went to speak at a Veterans Day breakfast about 2013, and we brought the 4-foot version and we put it up on stage with all the veterans, because it was an elementary school and they were honoring veterans. And one of the gentlemen sitting up on stage was Dr. White, who knew Victor Frankl, and he was in the concentration camps with him.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, he was amazing. And when I brought the statue up on stage, and he jumped right up and said, "I know that statue and I know that man," and it was like, and it was amazing for me. So we spoke with him, we interviewed him, but the people, the veterans, but the children and the parents, when we were wheeling the 4-foot statue out, is when I really realized what it meant to this country, and because there were people coming up crying.
Oh my gosh!
Can I touch it? Veterans were coming up and saying it's about time, because this, in part, responsibility. Who accepts responsibility, greater than or better than or follows it more than our veterans?
True.
With fighting for our freedom and our Constitution.
Right.
So I immediately realized the significance to this country and the world relative to this statute of responsibility and what it means. Because responsibility is every day, every minute, when we're making decisions, we're being responsible about our decision.
Right.
And veterans don't think twice about picking it up and carrying the Constitution in this country no matter where they are. So
Right.
It's a military grip, and it's man helping man, it's the divine helping man, and it's a soldier helping a soldier. So you can see it many different ways.
Right.
So I carried this with me across the country, and if you go to our webpage, you'll see me, because we blogged every day in the first year and the second year, every day, the people I met, we took pictures, and I carried the statue with me, and you'll see many people across the country holding the statue because they believed in it.
Great, yeah.
And the emotions were similar to mine in that they understood what it meant, and we've had many cries over what the statute of responsibility meant, such as the fella from Bernalillo in Mexico. So
yeah. So let me give you just a quick little history here, so people that may not be familiar. Dr. Viktor Frankl, the author of Man's Search for Meaning, is the one who first came up with the idea in his book and in his lectures and all that about the fact that there should be a statue that bookends the Statue of Liberty here on the West Coast, because he said, you know, without responsibility, we'll lose our freedom. And so he's the one that started that, and then Stephen Covey and some others told him before he passed away that the statue will get built, and they formed the first foundation to get that started. They commissioned Gary Lee Price, who's been on our show with his wife Lisa, and they've talked about this. He designed it, went back and met with Viktor Frankl's wife and all that, and it's going to be built here on the West Coast. There's a few cities that are vying for it. We're not allowed to say where it's going to be yet, but we are pretty sure we know where, and I think everybody's going to be happy with that. But this thing's going to be the same size as the Statue of Liberty.
Way bigger than this one.
400 feet tall,
Yeah,
a little bit bigger. Yeah,
little bit bigger.
a little
Yeah.
bit bigger.
Yeah. Tiny bit.
We'll be able to be inside, and inside will be
And then
music.
crawl up it,
Yeah. Or stairs,
exactly.
hopefully, for people that want to like run up the stairs, right?
I'll skip that one.
He's taking the
I will
elevator.
skip that.
I'll ride my bike across the country, but I'm taking
I'm
the elevator.
not
up that.
taking the stairs.
I'm not going to be up for that.
I love that. I love that. So that's really what the statue is about, is standing for responsibility.
I can tell you that the veteran community is waiting for this.
Yeah.
Because last year, in the first year, but more last year, in my 2014 ride, I stopped at a lot of the American Legion posts and VFW posts and pulled this out. Now, what's interesting is that my statue was chipped, because when it was traveling in that 100-pound trailer behind me the first time, it got chipped away. And I had it and put it up on, I went to Kansas City and the World War II monument, and all the plaques on the ground with people's names, all of our veterans that sacrificed so much. And I put this next to one of the placards, and there was a fellow looking, and I said, well, it's chipped, and I don't think I want to have a picture with the chip. And he said, no, you need to have the picture with the chip, because it's the way our country is today. It's kind of broken.
Aww.
And I said, that is so appropriate.
Right.
So we did. We took a picture of it, and so next year, 2015, I'll be bringing my chipped statue with me.
Good. Well, it shows that it's getting used, that it's not
Right.
just a symbol, but it's actually working.
Right.
Yes.
And then you have a story about it.
And I think I have the only statue that I can brag and say has met more people than anybody else's
Right.
statue.
Well, I think that's a challenge, Dennis.
Yeah, it is a challenge.
I think.
It is a challenge.
Oh, he's
So
challenging
we're
you.
counting all of you out there right now that are looking at this.
We win.
No, we'll divide it.
Okay. You just need to start carrying it with you in a bag. And so everywhere you
I
get one of
actually
your
do.
classes,
Yep.
just have everyone
I
touch
bring it to every one of my college classes.
Do you?
I'm also a speaker, a keynote speaker, often at different colleges and companies, and I bring it with me. I have this one, and I have the little smaller one. The
Okay.
little, I don't know if that's looks like pewter or something, stainless steel or
I think
whatever
it's
it
stainless
is.
steel.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, though.
And I like to pass that one around, because the oils on your hands can get on this one and mess it up. But a lot of people will take pictures with this. I love teaching people about it.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. I think it's a backbone of where this country needs to go.
Yeah.
And it reflects every decision that we make.
Yeah.
Tony Allen said it's like gravity. It's always there.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a true statement.
Good point. Heavy thought.
Yeah.
Heavy thought, Dennis.
Yes.
So when you see these two hands together and people helping each other out, and Gary told us too that it's a left hand and a right hand, so it could be yourself helping yourself out as well.
Yeah.
So it can be seen in a lot of ways. But when you look at it and you think about the suicide rate with veterans, what does it mean to you? What can we do? We can't all ride our bike across the country, so what can we all do to help?
Well, I think it's interesting. Our logo. I'll just. I don't have anything to show you the logo, but if you go to...
We can put it up on the screen.
Yeah, we'll find it.
If you go to our webpage at www.ttvfoundation.org, our logo sort of, I think, goes hand in hand with this because it's bridging the gap between the civilian population and the military population. It's sort of... the message we're trying to imply is that civilians need to be responsible about veterans, and they need to understand that they have an obligation to take care of every veteran that comes home, because our government is not doing it as well as they should.
Right.
They have, $60 billion in a budget, and based on our latest summation and information that we've received from some of the college professors that are looking at how we should be treating our veterans, that it's $1 trillion bill. It's not a $60 million bill, a $60 billion bill. It's $1 trillion bill. And the paper that this Professor Mark Russell wrote basically kind of indicates through his investigation that we've never really taken care of our veterans from the Civil War forward. So our logo is basically a camouflage figure with a shadow next to it walking over a bridge. The shadow is a civilian, the shadow is the veteran's shadow, because when they come back there's something missing.
Right.
And the story behind the logo is basically American Indians, when the medicine woman noticed that when the Indians came back from war, there was something missing, and she claimed that it was their shadow.
Interesting.
And I saw that in my brother when he came back from Vietnam. There was something missing, and what the American Indian believed was that when they went down into the depths of inside of their body and fought those demons off, that she would then sew their shadow back on.
Interesting.
Yeah,
that's very interesting.
So the shadow is walking the veteran across the bridge. In our logo is having his shadow sewed back on, and I've kind of taken that. There was a mother that I met, Gold Star mother. My first ride across the country, we weren't going to go down to her area, but she called and said, "I want to meet you guys."
Right.
So I pedaled down to her area, and it's emotional and difficult to meet someone who lost a child by suicide.
Right.
So we've gotten to be great friends, and what I say to her when she misses her son, I say to her, "Go outside and look at your shadow, because that's your son."
Wow.
And that's helped her a lot.
I bet it has, yeah.
Yeah, it has.
I bet it has.
She had tried to commit suicide herself.
Oh my gosh.
When she recovered, I told her that God had her back for a reason.
Right.
And it was to help the other veterans and other family members, because 50% of the time when a veteran commits suicide, a family member does as well.
50%?
50% of the time.
That's incredible. So we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, let's talk a little bit more about how the family members or anybody else that's out there right now that might have some kind of feelings of depression or think that nobody cares and wants to cross over to the other side with suicide as a thought. What are some things that you can say to them to help them to get beyond that? We'll be right back.
Saturday Morning Success will be right back after this.
Up, college is hard. Down, those books are heavy.
My sport is football, but my passion is education.
Right up here.
So every year I take promising high schoolers on a college tour
Lights there, darts there.
to show them that higher education means a brighter future. My name is Nnamdi Asamoah. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
You can be a reader, tutor, or mentor too. Take the pledge at liveunited.org/volunteer.
Do you wear this?
Did you know kids who play outdoors have healthier lungs?
Totally. I did. Did you know that boys that play with dolls make better husbands?
My son has lots of dolls.
But did you know terry cloth diapers breathe better?
I did.
It's totally true.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Did you know that strollers have the right of way on a sidewalk?
Yes.
Yep, I did. Did you guys
Did you know that kids who eat breakfast have higher GPAs?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. That's actually what I was going to say.
Did you know babies should never touch silver? It's really bad for them.
I knew that.
Did you guys know that statistically friendly kids have more friends?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's obvious.
Did you know most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat to make sure your child is protected.
I'm putting that on my blog.
I just put it in mine.
What do you think it would be like to teach? Chances are, you have no idea. Teachers today are breaking down obstacles, finding innovative ways to instill old lessons, proving that greatness can be found in everyday places, and that you don't need to be famous to be unforgettable. That's what it's like to teach.
Surprise! I thought you were inside the saloon.
How you doing?
You know, he moves way too much.
Are we gonna get out of this?
She would not talk to guys like us unless there were a camera present. Is that correct?
We've looked to the skies with wonder.
We're back with Saturday Morning Success.
Hey, welcome back. Well, you almost caught my little dance.
Almost. It's almost there.
I do like to have a little bit of fun in the show.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, or in between the show.
You think you're having fun.
Oh, okay.
We're just laughing at you.
Oh, okay, I'm with you. I'm with you. So why don't you take over then?
Okay, sounds good. So back to Tom. Tom, you were actually telling us during the break about some staggering, amazing numbers, and you were talking about how many veterans commit suicide or have committed suicide since 2004, and then how many family members follow suit with that. Scary numbers.
It's something about productivity, too, in the businesses.
Yes, the productivity, right.
Well, since 2004, we've lost about 90,000 veterans to suicide.
That's a huge number.
Yeah. And you really want to quantify it and look at it for what it really is when you add 50% of that, because 50% of the time a family member commits suicide as well. So if you now look at it and say, okay, two sets of grandparents lost a grandson. You know, a set of parents lost a son or a daughter. And then, 50% of the time a family member of that set, that unit, commits suicide. So by our program, we feel, not only reduces veteran suicide, but also reduces civilian suicide as well.
Right, but educating the veteran, too, about feeling like they're loved and knowing that if they go, that it's affecting, like, that's a huge...
That's a lot of burden to put on somebody, though.
That's true.
Especially
That's
when
true.
they already think that they're not...
Right.
They're not worthy, that they failed somehow, or that they really feel bad about some of the things that they did. And when I spoke to my brother, he explained to me some of the things that he had done in the war, which made him feel like, he wasn't worthy of staying alive.
Wow. Because they had to do some horrible things, right?
Yeah. If you look at the movie The American Sniper, at one point in time he had, and I haven't seen the movie, the commercial where he had a choice to shoot a young boy who was carrying a weapon to protect all the other soldiers, then you make those decisions.
Right.
And so you figure, but if you look at the suicide death rate in a different terms, and I think I do this because I think corporations need to look at it, that over the lifetime of a veteran, from 25 to 75 years of age, there's lost productivity that this country is experiencing. And I think you need to look at it and say, okay, what does that mean? Well, 90,000 veterans committing suicide is about $90 billion in lost productivity.
So it would benefit us to save them.
Corporations to look at our program and say,
Yeah.
what do we need to do to keep them alive? What do we need to do? And they do a lot, don't get me wrong. Corporations like Lowe's and Home Depot, especially Home Depot, do a lot. A lot, as well as other corporations. But I just think that they need to look at that and say, okay, you know, what else do we need to do? How else do we look at it? What is this guy's program, and is it good? And if it is good, how can we help them?
Right.
So that kind of thing. So when you look at it in those terms, I think that it kind of adds a little bit to how big it really is,
right,
and why it needs to stop. So those are the kind of numbers that we look at.
So what does your organization do to help?
Well, we have a program called Alive. It's advocacy for life and veteran empowerment is what it means. And what we do is we employ veterans. We especially train them. This is our business plan. When I went across the country the first year, I settled in Boston, and the governor showed me a program called SAVE, and I sat with the staff. Now in Massachusetts, their program over 7 years has helped save 1,700 veterans.
That's a lot.
And it's huge for what they do.
Yeah.
So I copied what they, I looked at it, I met with the staff, I talked to all of their critical incident responders, their navigators, and I walked away saying I want to start that program across the country. I want to bring it to every state. And it's about $186 million to run it.
Wow.
Just chump change, no big deal.
Well, in this country, $186 million is not a lot of money.
No, I have that in my bank account right now. It's not a problem.
Well, write me a check.
Nope,
and we can get
I'm
the
on
program.
it. Let's do this.
There you go.
So, when I'm back to meet with our organization and the executive board, a group of dedicated, hardworking, ordinary people doing extraordinary things is what they are. So I just said we need to bring this program across the country. So the second bike ride in 2014 was to raise funds for our Alive program. And we don't have it going in any state yet, but we're close. We're close in Kansas. We're very close in Arizona. I just made some connections with a couple of universities that want to bring it across the country with us. We're up in Utah trying to bring the program to Utah. So, but I know it works. There are other organizations.
What's the logistics of that program? I mean, you mentioned they had some first responder things and some. So how will it function?
Well, the call comes in through a call taker. Call taker is especially trained, and then based on the critical incident, if a veteran is close to committing suicide, then our critical incident responders, 2 would be dispatched to the home.
Oh, wow, okay.
Police and fire are informed, because we talk to police and fire and let them know what we're doing.
Is it like a therapist coming out to talk to them kind of a thing?
Well, there's a therapist in charge of the whole thing.
Okay.
The critical incident responders are both trained to, not to case manage, but they're sensitive to what do you say, how do you deal with a veteran who's in crisis.
Okay.
So they're trained, and they're trained by outside counselors.
Very cool.
But we do have psychiatrists and psychologists on staff that guide these guys. Well, one goes to the family to educate the family, to deal with
and
the
the other
family.
one goes to them.
And the other one goes to the vet, probably in the same household.
Right.
And takes the vet, gets care and custody, gets them into therapy, gets them into the VA and their mental health facilities, that sort of stuff. And then we educate and deal with the family.
Cool.
The thing that we're most proud of, however, that a lot of programs don't have is that we do family reintegration and reorientation.
Which is nice, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So when the veteran is released, and we stay in contact when he's in the mental health facility. We go and we talk to them, figure out how things are going. We're still educating the family at the same time.
That's huge, yeah.
Yeah, it is. And we have probably, in the states, our business plan have laid out that we'd probably have 20, 25, 30 critical incident responders / navigators in each state. So we would cover the entire state.
Wow.
Then obviously there's the paperwork. They would write up what they did, how they did it, and that sort of. But we like the fact that we're putting the veteran and the family in a retreat situation over time, so they can get back together. The family knows what to look for, the cues in case he starts having problems in the future, and they can just make a phone call. So it's working with the family, and that's gigantic.
Yeah, that's good.
We just hooked up with an individual that provides a lot of that, and his program is so successful. But we also do, and our organization, the Alive program, was sponsored and supported by the American Legion at their national convention. 350,000 people, members, voted on our program.
Wow.
So we're now waiting to see what that means, because now we have the support from the American Legion nationally.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah. So.
So how can others?
But we do canine therapy. We do alternative treatments. We
Wait,
don't
talk about
necessarily
dogs.
do the drug.
I'm a dog person.
Okay.
So tell me about, you said something about dog therapy, right?
Canine therapy, yes.
Canine therapy. So is there a dog named Soldier?
Yes.
Tell me about Soldier.
I was traveling to, the first year was 2013, and I was I was going through and staying at a place called Mexico, Missouri.
Really?
Mexico, Missouri, it was 28 miles uphill. I had to pedal.
Sounds
I
awesome.
loved Mexico.
Sounds awesome.
No, I'm telling you.
That would go in the memory bank.
Yep,
So
I'll remember that one.
Yeah, I did. It went in so I stopped at a VA hospital. The people who accepted me that night, I stayed at their inn. They were veterans. They were both Marines. They allowed me to stay. And the woman said, "You got to go to the VA hospital. You got to meet those guys up there." And they were all World War II veterans. It was amazing.
We only have a couple minutes left, so we want to hear the story.
So I walked in. There was a 100-year-old veteran I was talking to.
Oh my gosh.
And he landed 7 tanks on Normandy the day of the invasion. He was amazing. So a dog walked by me. So I went to the nurse and I said, "You got a dog in the building?" She goes, "Yeah, that's Soldier." And I said, "What happened?" She said, "Well, 3 years ago, Soldier meandered into the building, and what he does, and he's been doing ever since without any training, is he climbs on the bed of a veteran who's passing away and stays with them
Are you kidding me?
Comforts them until they pass. And then he gets off the bed and goes finds another. And he was not trained. He just, that's what he does.
That's awesome.
Oh, I'm telling you. I got on the floor with that dog. I looked in his eyes, and that dog knew exactly what he was doing.
Wow.
So that's what that dog did.
That's awesome.
Oh, you're going to draw some emotions out here at the end.
It was amazing.
Well, tell us how people that are viewing our program, how can they contact you and your website? What can they do to help you out?
Okay. We survive on donations and grants, and we would like to start a program here in California. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be meeting a couple of people after this program to talk about getting that going. I would think that if you go to our website, and you can find it at www.ttvfoundation.org, we have a donation page there. And the interesting thing, the money raised in the state stays in the state. So the money raised in California stays in California. It doesn't go into any other state. So if people understand what we're trying to do, and they believe in what we're trying to do, and believe that you have a responsibility and an obligation to veterans, that you can donate, get in contact with us. My number is 623-277-9938. I'm always available, and if you want to talk about doing something here in California, it would be a blessing. So that's how they could do it.
Cool.
Excellent. And I'll put you in touch with some folks too.
Thank you.
So that'll be great.
Thank you very
much.
much.
Do you have just a really quick, 30-second advice for somebody who's talked directly to a veteran that's thinking of committing suicide?
Well, I would, if I were sitting next to them, I would let them know that their life is a wonderful life, that they have family members that love them, that no matter what you do, what you've done, you have value. You're a human being.
You're valued, and we know that too.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to have to head on out of here, but we appreciate it so much. And remember that you've got value, and that if you're thinking about becoming successful, and that's why you're watching this show, then do what we tell you every week, and that is quit thinking about being successful and start doing something about it. I want to know by next week that you've done at least one more thing that's gotten you closer to your goal.